what was your impression back then compared to now?
Well, I mean, what I knew back then is, I mean, I had such a completely different outlook. I mean, I was, um, fucking completely consumed by hedonism, and I was, I wasn't interested in politics at all. I had no idea what the fuck was going on. It was just like, oh, here's a guy that might become president, and he seems like he's kind of a guy's guy, and he shoots from the hip, and I think that's cool. And it was just like it was so surface level. um and I think at the time everybody's kind of sick and tired of the politicians, and we thought, hey, here's a guy that's supposedly got a lot of money, and maybe he's doing it for the right reasons. Well, that was obviously a complete fucking lie. But yeah, I remember asking him. I think this was in 2022 or 2020. I think it was 2022. I remember asking him. I said, "What the fuck is going on in our country?" Where I was sitting there, and I was talking to him. And I'm like, it feels like we got infiltrated by China or Russia, or something's happened because our country is being destroyed, and it feels like it's being destroyed from within. I said, we've never been more divided. I said, it's never been more radical. Right hates the left, left hates the right. We've never been more racist. I feel like, all these policies that are, coming, like everything that's coming out of the media, like it's just all meant to, make us, weaker and divided and hurt the moral fiber of our country. This, pushing transgenderism. It's just like, none of it makes any sense. Like, what's going on? I had no idea. I had no fucking idea. And I looked at him, and he gave me like a deer in the headlights look, and he just had no answer. He didn't even have a suggestion. It was just like he just had nothing. And I remember leaving there thinking, like, how the fuck could you become the president and be in office for 4 years and be into politics and not have any kind of an answer to that question? Like, how could you not know? And now I realize it's obviously, because of this fucking Jewish supremacy that, he's in on and, won't say a fucking word about. But at the time, I just remember being so confused. And now obviously it makes sense. So
What's the likelihood that Trump himself is compromised on the Epstein Island, that he's blackmailed?